Hi, I'm Shannon, and this is Vinyasa 1. Please join me on your mat in a comfortable seated position. We are going to start our practice today in easy sit pose, which is a bit of a misnomer because for many people, sitting on the floor is not the most comfortable thing to do. We want to try and sit so our knees ride lower than our hips, or at least even with our hips. For me, it's much more comfortable to not rest on my ankles, but instead put one foot in front of the other and taking that pressure off of my ankle bones. You might find it's more comfortable to use a bolster or a mat. Or a blanket. I like to fold a blanket in half, fold it one more time, getting a nice strong edge that I can then put behind me and put my tailbone on, rolling off of that edge just ever so slightly, just my tailbone resting on the edge of the mat, on the edge of the blanket. I'm going to ask that you stack your shoulders over your hips, lifting the crown of your head towards the ceiling, resting your hands on your thighs, turning them over so your palms are up. Once you find yourself in this comfortable position, we're going to close our eyes and take a few deep breaths in through our nose and out through our nose. With every inhale, we're going to elongate our spine, lifting the crown of our head towards the ceiling. And on our exhale, we want to root our sit bones to the earth. On our next inhale, we might want to find a little texture in our breath, creating the ocean sound in the back of our throat, using our Ujjayi breath. Opening our eyes, we're going to extend our feet out in front of us, extending our legs long, flexing our feet, leaving a little micro bend in the knee, stacking our shoulders over our hips, extending the crown of our head, keeping a nice long spine. We're going to start to release, and our exhales folding over in staff pose. Inhaling up, exhaling fold. Inhaling up, exhaling fold. Inhaling up, exhaling fold. And if you feel like you have the ability, you might want to grab the bottom of your feet. We like to leave our feet nice and flat, and you can use your hands to kind of help create that nice flat edge. Inhaling up, exhaling fold. And if you feel like you might have a little more room there, you can grab a block, which I should have had handy, and stick it at the bottom of your feet, grasping the bottom of the block, pulling your feet flat and in towards you. Again, we're going to inhale and exhale, fold. And release your head and enjoy a nice long elongation of your spine, your hamstrings, your arms, your back. Lifting back up, removing your block. We're going to come into Badha Konasana, or bound angle. Bring your right and your left leg together, facing your feet to each other. Wrapping your hands around the bottom of your feet or the edges of your feet. stacking your shoulders over your hip, elongating your spine, lifting the crown of your head, and squeezing your glutes. You might find a little motion and movement in your knees, bringing them closer to the floor. Inhaling and exhaling. Releasing your hips. And then starting to fold forward. Releasing your chin and your head when you get to a point you feel like you've gone as far as you're going to go. Okay, releasing those feet, shaking them out just for a moment, coming back to easy sit position. We're going to start with our right leg and grasping our right hand behind our right thigh, taking our left hand and grabbing our ankle. We're going to lift our foot to a 45 degree, our shin to a 45 degree angle, and pulling it nice and tight towards our torso. And if you can do that comfortably, then we're going to try and put the sole of our foot into the crook of your hand, wrapping your other arm around your knee, clasping your hands, sitting up tall and pulling in tight towards your torso. This is Cradle the Baby, and you might find a little bit of movement here. It's a nice time to massage out your hip joint. You can also do the same movement if you're just holding your thigh and your foot. Releasing that leg, we're going to switch legs. Putting your left leg in front, grabbing your left thigh with your left hand, grabbing your ankle with your heel with your right hand, pulling it up at a nice 90-degree angle. And if you feel like you have the space and the desire, you can put your arch of your foot into the crook of your arm, wrapping your other arm around your knee, clasping your hands, sitting up tall, pulling your leg in towards your chest. And again, we can find a little bit of movement here. Continuing to breathe, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Okay, releasing that leg, shaking it out a little bit, and we're going to go back again to the other side. Only this time we're going to go about it the same way, lifting the thigh, lifting the heel, getting that nice 45-degree angle. But we're going to rest the ankle or the foot on your thigh just above your knee. And if your foot does not drop, as mine is not, you might find it more comfortable to place a block underneath that. The trick is to try and get both shins at a 45-degree angle to the front of the mat, or a parallel angle to the front of the mat. Inhaling up, sitting nice and tall, reaching through the crown of your head. Exhaling, grounding, finding release in your hip joints. If this block is tall and you don't need that height, you can also do a side block or a bolster, whichever is most comfortable for you. We're going to release that side, switch to the other side, doing the same thing, grasping behind the thigh, lifting the leg, and setting it over onto the the top of your thigh. Finding a comfortable spot, trying to release this leg as much as possible, and then when you get to the point where you can't go any further, sticking a block of bolster underneath there. Sitting up tall, taking some deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. Releasing that block, releasing your legs, stretching them out long, give them a little wiggle, a little shake, and we're done.